The galaxy was silent the day the humans arrived. Many alien empires had gathered in the council hall, their ships floating like dark shadows in orbit around the neutral station. Every race believed itself proud, strong, and ancient. They laughed at the young human race. Humans had only been among the stars for a short time compared to them. To the older species, humans were children pretending to be warriors. But when the human delegate stood to speak, the laughter was loud and cruel. They mocked his words. His warning was simple: do not push us into war. You will not like the answer. The alien council found those words funny. Small, fragile humans talking about war, it sounded like a joke to them. Some of the generals banged their claws on the table, others hissed and whistled with joy. Their translators said words that meant ridiculous, arrogant, and foolish. Still, the human did not smile. His eyes were cold, and his hands did not shake. He spoke slowly, like a man who already knew what was coming. His final words echoed through the chamber: if you will not listen to our voice, then you will hear our ship. The aliens only laughed harder. No one took the warning seriously. They thought humans had no great fleets, no mighty weapons, no ancient secrets. They believed the humans were weak. They had no idea what was moving through the void at that very moment. Far away, hidden beyond the edges of the system, a human battleship waited. It was not like other ships. The design was strange, brutal, and heavy. Its black armor drank the starlight. Its engines whispered like a predator breathing in the dark. It had no banners, no symbols. It did not need them. The ship itself was a message. Back in the council chamber, the aliens mocked again. "Show us this ship," one commander said, his voice sharp with amusement. "Perhaps it is made of wood. Perhaps you throw rocks as weapons." His words made the chamber roar with cruel laughter. The human delegate simply pressed a small device on the table. A signal left the station. The stars shifted. The void rippled. And then, it came. The human battleship arrived in silence, but its presence filled every sensor, every screen, every heart. It was larger than any alien ship nearby, its hull scarred with strange marks like it had survived battles the others could not imagine. Its weapons hummed with quiet power, lines of fire running like veins across its body. It looked alive, as if the machine itself hated everything that stood against it. At once, the laughter in the council chamber died. The alien generals stared at the screens. Some whispered. Others trembled. None of them had expected this. The humans had only been in space for a few centuries. Yet this ship, this monster, looked like something forged in 1,000 wars. The human delegate finally spoke again, his voice calm. "You laughed at our words. Now our battleship will speak." Outside, the ship moved with deadly grace. A smaller alien vessel, curious or foolish, drifted too close. A warning light flared, and before the crew could even turn away, a beam of fire cut through their shields as if they were made of paper. The ship broke apart in a silent explosion, its pieces drifting into the dark. The council chamber filled with noise. Alien commanders shouted, some in fear, some in rage. But none dared order their fleets to attack. Their instincts screamed that this ship was death. The humans had not lied. Their words were not a joke. One alien leader leaned forward, his voice shaking as he whispered, What is that thing?" The human delegate looked at him, eyes cold as stone. "That," he said, "is the voice of humanity when words are not enough." The silence that followed was heavy. No alien laughed now. But deep inside, fear turned to anger. Some empires could not accept being threatened by a young race. Others plotted revenge. And in that silence, a dangerous truth began to grow. Humanity's battleship had spoken once, but the galaxy was not done testing it. The human delegate knew this. He could feel the weight of the moment. The message had been sent, but it was only the beginning. He stood, bowed slightly, and left the chamber without another word. Behind him, the aliens whispered, argued, and trembled. The first seed of fear had been planted. But fear in the galaxy always brought war. And the humans were ready. The galaxy did not sleep the night the human battleship appeared. Every empire sent secret reports, hidden messages, and emergency orders. Fleets shifted positions. Armies prepared for war. The great council chamber that once laughed now sat in silence, the memory of fire still burning in every mind. The humans had shown their voice, and it was louder than anyone had believed. Yet the galaxy was proud. Many species had ruled for thousands of years, their empires older than human history itself. They could not accept that a young race had dared to threaten them. For them, fear was not enough. Fear needed to be broken, or it would grow into something worse. In a cold hall deep inside the station, alien generals gathered. Their eyes burned with anger. Their claws, tendrils, and metallic limbs struck the table as they spoke in harsh voices. The humans must be crushed, one growled. They are arrogant children, another hissed. They believe one ship can frighten us all. We will show them the galaxy's strength. But not all agreed. One commander, old and scarred, leaned forward and said in a heavy voice, "You saw what it did. That was not the ship of children. That was the ship of survivors." The others did not listen. Pride filled the air. Anger was stronger than fear. The meeting ended with a secret pact: the empires would test humanity. They would send ships, not all at once, but in waves, to study the battleship, to see if it truly was as strong as it appeared. Meanwhile, the humans already knew what was coming. The delegate returned to his battleship, docking through a hidden bay. Inside, the crew stood waiting. Men and women in dark uniforms, faces sharp with focus. They saluted as he entered. He nodded in return. The council laughed, he said simply. The captain of the ship, a tall woman with grey hair, answered, "They will not laugh for long." She turned to the bridge. Lights flickered on, screens filled with data. Outside, the vast stars waited. "Status?" she asked. "All systems armed. Shields at full. Weapons charged. Engines silent but ready." The battleship breathed like a beast ready to hunt. Then the sensors lit up. Multiple alien vessels had left the station. Not one, not two, but 6 cruisers, each from a different empire. They pretended it was patrol duty, but the humans knew better. This was the test. The human captain smiled coldly. "They are coming." The alien fleet approached, slowly, carefully. They thought they were hunters. But the human ship did not move. It simply waited, black and silent against the stars. The first cruiser hailed the battleship. Its voice came through the comms, arrogant and sharp. "Human vessel. You are in restricted space. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded." The human captain did not answer. The silence stretched. The aliens grew restless. "Human vessel, respond immediately." Still nothing. Then, without a word, the battleship's weapons came alive. A line of fire cut across the dark. The first cruiser's shields flared, then shattered. The ship broke apart in seconds, fire spilling into the void. The other 5 cruisers screamed warnings. They opened fire, beams of light flashing across the emptiness. Explosions rippled against the battleship's armor. But the human ship did not flinch. Its black hull drank the fire like rain on stone. Then it answered. One by one, its cannons roared. Beams and missiles tore through space. Alien ships tried to dodge, tried to flee, but the human vessel moved faster, striking with deadly precision. In less than a minute, 4 more cruisers were nothing but burning wrecks. The last cruiser tried to run. Engines at full, shields glowing, it sprinted toward the edge of the system. But the human battleship turned. Its engines lit up like a star igniting. It chased. For a moment, the alien crew believed they could escape. Then the battleship's voice came across the comms, calm, quiet, and final. "You wanted to test us. Now you have your answer." The last shot fired. The cruiser split apart, its pieces tumbling into the black. Silence returned. On the station, the council watched in horror. Their fleets had been destroyed like insects. The humans had not even spoken during the battle. The battleship had spoken for them. Whispers filled the chamber. "Impossible, no ship is that strong. It must be ancient technology. No, it is something else, something new." But deep down, they all knew the truth. Humanity had built this monster with their own hands. In the human ship's bridge, the crew sat calm. No celebration. No cheering. Only silence. They were not proud. They were prepared. The captain turned to her officers. This was only the beginning. The empires will not stop here. They will come with more. And when they do? One officer asked. The captain's eyes were cold. Then the galaxy will learn what war means to us. Far away, across the stars, the empires already planned their next move. They spoke of fleets, of traps, of overwhelming numbers. They promised themselves that no single human ship could stand against them all. But none of them truly understood what had just happened. They believed they had faced a weapon. They were wrong. What they had faced was a message. And that message was clear. When humans speak with fire, the galaxy will burn. The galaxy was restless. The destruction of 6 cruisers had shaken every empire. News spread faster than light. Entire fleets whispered about the black battleship, the human monster that spoke with fire. Some called it a demon. Others called it a shadow of war. But one truth was shared by all: humanity could no longer be ignored. The empires gathered again in the council chamber. This time there was no laughter. Only tension, sharp as knives. The Zelda general slammed his armored fist against the table. We must crush them now. If we wait, they will grow stronger. The reptilian vote hissed, their eyes burning with anger. Yes. Humanity is a weed. A weed must be burned before it spreads. But the older, wiser races hesitated. The Osari, thin and tall, spoke slowly. Did you not see? Their ship took the fire of 6 cruisers as if it were nothing. What if they have more? What if this was not their only weapon? The room filled with whispers. That was the fear no one wanted to face. Was it one ship, or a fleet of them? Finally, the council made a choice. They would not attack openly yet. Instead, they would send spies. They would learn the secret of the human battleship, no matter the cost. And so, in the shadows, the galaxy's best infiltrators began their hunt. On the human battleship, the crew moved calmly through their routines. The ship floated silent, watching the stars. But inside, the captain was not blind. She knew the empires would not stop. She knew eyes were already searching for them. Double security, she ordered. Yes, Captain, the officers replied. But even the strongest armor cannot stop a shadow. That same night, an alien infiltrator crept through the darkness of the ship. He was small, insect-like, with thin limbs that clung to walls. His skin shifted colors, blending with the shadows. He was one of the Serac, the most feared spies in the galaxy. They said no lock could stop a Serac, no eye could see one unless he wanted it. He slipped through vents, crawled through silent passages, and listened. The humans did not know he was there. Or so he thought. At the heart of the ship, he found it. The engine room. A massive chamber of black steel and humming power. Strange machines pulsed with light, different from anything he had seen before. The human battleship was not powered like other ships. Its core burned with something new, something dangerous. The Serac pulled out a small device and began recording. Every hum, every pulse, every flicker of energy, he captured it all. His people would be pleased. He would be rewarded. But then he froze. A voice spoke behind him. Calm. Cold. Human. Looking for something. The Serac spun, claws ready. A human officer stood in the shadows, holding a weapon steady. The Serac's skin shifted colors in panic. He tried to vanish, but the human fired. A flash of light, and pain ripped through his body. The spy collapsed to the floor, screaming in a language no one understood. The officer called for security. More humans arrived, weapons drawn. The Serac was dragged away, hissing and cursing. In the interrogation chamber, the captain herself stood before the alien spy. She studied him with cold eyes. You wanted to know our secret, she said softly. So you came into our home. Tell me, who sent you? The Serac hissed and spat. The galaxy will crush you. One ship cannot win against all. The captain leaned closer. Perhaps. But one ship can burn the first path of fire. Her words made the Serac tremble. He realized then that the humans were not afraid. They were ready. The spy never left that chamber alive. When news of his death reached the council, fear spread. If even a Serac spy could not bring back answers, then what chance did the rest of them have? But pride is stronger than fear. We will send fleets, the generals growled. Hundreds of ships. Thousands if needed. Humanity cannot fight us all. Plans were made. Secret orders were given. Across the galaxy, vast armadas began to gather. And still, the human battleship waited. The captain stood on the bridge, watching stars shift across the screen. Her crew whispered of what was coming, but she silenced them with calm words. They will come, she said. They must. And when they do, they will learn. Humanity does not break. Suddenly, the sensors flared. A fleet had entered the system. Not 6 cruisers this time. Not even 10. But 50. 50 warships, from 5 different empires, moving in formation like a storm of fire. The crew stiffened. Some whispered in fear. 50 ships against one. No one had ever survived that before. The captain's face remained calm. Battle stations, she ordered. Alarms echoed through the ship. Weapons charged. Shields flared. Engines roared awake. The black battleship turned toward the enemy. On the lead alien vessel, the admiral sent a message. His voice was filled with cruel confidence. Human ship. You are surrounded. Surrender now, or be destroyed. The human captain replied at last. Her voice was steady, clear, and sharp as a blade. We are humanity. We do not surrender. If you wish to hear our answer, listen to our fire. And then the stars themselves burned. The battleship unleashed its weapons. Beams of light tore through the void. Missiles streaked like comets. Alien shields collapsed under the storm. Ships exploded, fire spilling into the black. But 50 ships did not fall easily. They answered with fire of their own. The sky lit with explosions. The battleship shook under the storm. Armor plates cracked. Warning sirens screamed. The crew held steady. Shields at 60%. Return fire. Target their carriers. Enemy boarding pods incoming. The battle turned fierce. Aliens tried to board. Dozens of pods slammed into the hull. Claws and soldiers spilled into the corridors. But the humans fought with brutal precision. Every hallway became a trap. Every corner a kill zone. Blood stained the steel floors. Screams echoed through the ship. But the humans did not break. On the bridge, the captain's voice cut through the chaos. Push them back. This ship does not fall. Hours passed. The fleet grew smaller, burning wrecks floating through the dark. The battleship, scarred and bleeding fire, still stood. When the last alien vessel tried to run, the humans chased it down. One final shot ended it. Silence returned to the system. The black battleship floated among the wreckage of 50 ships. Its armor was broken, smoke rose from its wounds, but it was still alive. And the galaxy trembled. The battle proved one truth: humanity was no longer just a young race. They were something new. Something dangerous. But the war was only beginning. The empires would not stop. They would gather even greater fleets. They would unleash their most terrible weapons. And humanity would be forced to show just how far their fire could burn. The galaxy had laughed at human words. Now it was drowning in their silence. And the silence was worse than fear. The galaxy could not ignore what had happened. 50 ships had gone against one human battleship. 50 ships had burned. Every empire had lost warriors, weapons, and pride. The survivors did not bring back trophies. They brought back only fear. For the first time in centuries, the great empires gathered not to boast, but to plan together. They met in secret halls, hidden deep in a star fortress. Their voices were sharp, angry, and desperate. This cannot continue, the Zelda general roared, his armor scarred and smoking from the last war. One ship should not stand against fleets. And yet it does, the Osari whispered, their thin fingers trembling. It stands because we underestimated it. Humanity has done what no young race should do. The vote hissed, their reptilian eyes narrowing. Then we must not fight them with fleets. We must fight them with weapons that no ship, no race, can survive. And so, a decision was made. The empires would bring out their hidden weapons, their ancient tools of destruction, built long ago for wars they hoped never to fight again. Weapons so powerful they had been locked away in fear. Now, all of them would be turned against humanity. Far away, the human battleship floated in the void, scarred but alive. Its black hull was cracked in places, smoke trailing from its wounds. Inside, the crew worked without rest. Engineers patched holes. Medics treated the wounded. Soldiers dragged the dead to silent chambers. The captain walked through the halls. Her face was calm, but her eyes were heavy. She touched the steel walls of the ship like a commander touching the shoulder of a soldier. "You are hurt," she whispered to the ship. "But you will not fall. Not yet." On the bridge, her officers gave reports. Casualty count, heavy. Systems at 70%. Shields unstable. Weapons recharging. The crew waited for her order, but she gave none. Instead, she looked at the stars. She knew the empires were not finished. She knew they would come back, stronger, more dangerous. The humans had sent their message. But the galaxy was not ready to listen. And then it came. The sensors lit up with warnings. Something huge was moving through the void. Not a fleet this time. Not cruisers, not carriers. Something different. Something old. The crew stared at the screens. Shapes began to form, massive weapons, each the size of a small moon. The aliens had brought their superweapons. One was a sphere covered in thousands of cannons, glowing with terrible light. Another was a long spear-shaped ship, built only to pierce shields and split planets in two. A third looked like a giant swarm, made of machines that moved as one, eating everything in their path. The galaxy had hidden these monsters for centuries. Now, they had released them. The crew grew silent. Fear spread like smoke. Some whispered prayers. Others clenched their fists. No one spoke of surrender, but in their hearts, they knew this was not a normal battle. This was survival against the impossible. The captain stood, her voice cutting through the fear. "Listen to me. They have brought their greatest weapons. They believe this will end us. But they are wrong. We are not only fighting for this ship. We are fighting for humanity itself. And humanity does not end here." The crew answered with a roar. Fear became fire. The battle began. The alien sphere unleashed its cannons, thousands of beams raining down like a storm of suns. The battleship shook, shields screaming, armor cracking. Explosions ripped through the corridors. But the ship held. Then the spear ship charged. Its tip glowed with power, aiming straight for the human vessel. If it struck, the battleship would split apart. "Evasive maneuvers," the captain ordered. Engines flared, the battleship twisting with impossible speed. The spear missed by only a breath, tearing through the void. But the shockwave still slammed against the ship, hurling crew to the floor. The swarm came next, crawling across the hull like metal insects. They drilled into the armor, trying to eat the ship alive. Alarms screamed. Soldiers rushed to the halls, firing rifles, cutting down machines as they broke through. The corridors turned into war zones. Sparks, blood, and screams mixed into one. Still, the battleship fought back. Cannons roared, missiles flew, beams cut through the darkness. The sphere cracked. The swarm burned. Even the spear was pushed back. But it was not enough. The superweapons kept coming, each hit breaking more of the battleship. Fires burned on every deck. Hull plates fell away. The crew fought with bleeding hands and broken voices. And then, just when it seemed the ship would not last, the captain gave the order. "Release the core." The crew froze. No one wanted to hear those words. The core was the heart of the battleship. It was not only power. It was something more. Something dangerous. But they obeyed. Deep inside the ship, a chamber opened. The core pulsed, a sphere of living fire, a weapon unlike any the galaxy had ever seen. It was not nuclear. It was not plasma. It was something humans had built in silence, hidden from all eyes. It was war itself, trapped inside a machine. The battleship released it. The core flared brighter than a star. Energy spread in every direction, A wave of fire that tore through the swarm, cracked the sphere, and shattered the spear. Alien superweapons broke apart, burning like dry leaves in a storm. The galaxy's mightiest tools were gone in minutes. But the human battleship paid the price. Its hull split. Its decks shattered. Hundreds of crew were lost. The ship floated half dead, its heart exposed. Yet it was alive. Still alive. On the bridge, the captain stood bleeding, her hands gripping the console. Her voice was weak, but steady. We still stand. Humanity still stands. The crew answered with broken cheers. Far away, in the Star Fortress, the empires watched in horror. Their greatest weapons, destroyed. Their fleets, scattered. Their spies, useless. And the humans, still alive. Still standing. Whispers filled the hall. What are they? How can one race do this? If one ship can destroy our greatest weapons, what if they have more? The last question spread like poison. What if this was not the only human battleship? What if there were more, hidden in the dark, waiting to rise? The council grew silent. For the first time, the galaxy felt not only fear, but dread. Back on the ship, the captain sat alone in her chair, the stars burning quietly outside the cracked window. She closed her eyes for a moment. Her crew worked, patched wounds, buried the dead. The ship groaned, but it lived. The captain whispered to herself, "They think we are one. Let them think it. The truth will come when they are ready." Because far beyond the edge of the galaxy, hidden in black space, other shadows were moving. Other human battleships. And when they came, the galaxy would understand. Humanity's words had been mocked. Their battleship had spoken in fire. But the true voice of humanity had not yet begun. The galaxy was not silent anymore. Rumors spread like fire across every empire, across every station, across every world. The story was the same. The human battleship had faced the greatest weapons of the galaxy, and it had survived. The destruction of the alien superweapons had left scars deeper than battlefields. Generals, kings, and warlords who once believed themselves untouchable now spoke in whispers. Soldiers who had never known fear felt it creeping into their bones. Traders and civilians stared at the stars, wondering if a black ship would one day appear above their skies. But worse than the truth were the rumors. Whispers said the humans had more than one battleship. Some claimed there were 10. Others swore there were hundreds, hidden in dark space. A few whispered of fleets so large they could blot out suns. None of it was confirmed. No proof was found. But fear does not need proof. Fear grows best in silence. And the galaxy was drowning in silence. On the Star Fortress, the empires gathered once again. Their pride was broken, but not their anger. This cannot continue, the Zelda general growled, his armor still cracked from the last defeat. If humanity has more ships like this, we must find them and destroy them before they rise. The Osari counselor shook her thin head. We do not know. Perhaps it is only one ship. Perhaps it is already dying. Look at the battle reports, it is damaged, bleeding. If we strike together now, perhaps we can finish it. The reptilian vote slammed his claws against the table. No half measures. We will not chase shadows. We will gather every empire, every fleet, every weapon. If humanity wants war, then the galaxy will give them war. A new voice spoke, low and cautious. It was the Thren, a machine race, their voice metallic. Be careful. You do not know their full strength. Humanity hides too much. Do you not wonder, why did they build such a ship in the first place? The room fell into silence. That was the question no one wanted to face. The humans were young compared to the old empires. They should not have needed such monsters of war. And yet they had built one, and maybe more. What had they been preparing for? Far away, in the cold black, the human battleship drifted, scarred but alive. Repairs were slow. Fires had been put out, but deep wounds remained. Entire sections of the hull were sealed off. Hundreds of crew had been buried. Still, the ship lived. The captain stood on the bridge, silent, watching her crew. Their uniforms were torn, their faces pale, but their eyes still burned. These were not soldiers who thought of surrender. These were humans, carrying the fire of their species in their veins. "Status?" she asked. "Shields at 30%. Weapons recharging. Engines stable. Hull integrity critical. How long until full repair?" "Too long, Captain. Weeks, maybe months." The captain nodded. She knew the truth, the empires would not give them weeks. Perhaps not even days. Her eyes drifted to the stars. She thought of Earth, far behind them, and of the other shadows she knew were hidden in the void. Humanity had prepared for this moment long before the galaxy laughed at them. She would not reveal it yet. Not until the right time. The empires moved quickly. Fleets were gathered, not dozens, not hundreds, but thousands of ships. The greatest gathering of war the galaxy had seen in centuries. Every empire sent its strongest, its fastest, its deadliest. It was no longer a test. It was no longer about pride. It was survival. They believed if they could crush the human battleship, the fear would die. The rumors would end. Humanity would go back to being small, weak, and unimportant. And so, the greatest armada in history began its march through the stars. On a small mining world near the edge of human space, the first warning came. A worker looked up from the surface, wiping sweat from his brow, and saw it. The sky was filled with ships. Alien warships, thousands of them, blackening the heavens. The alarm was sounded, but it was too late. The armada moved fast. Cities burned. Mines collapsed. Millions screamed as fire fell from the skies. The galaxy was not only hunting the battleship anymore. It was striking at humanity itself. On the battleship's bridge, the warning reached the captain. The crew stiffened, their faces turning pale. "They are not only coming for us," one officer whispered. "They are coming for everyone." The captain's hands clenched on the console. She had expected this. She had warned the council. Humanity had spoken words, then fire. And still, the galaxy had not listened. Now the war was here. "Set course," she ordered. "We are going to them." The officers hesitated. "Captain, the ship is not ready." "It will never be ready," she cut in. Her voice was cold, steady. "But humanity cannot wait. We will fight with what we have." The engines roared. The black battleship turned, its broken hull glowing faintly in the light of distant stars. It was going to war again. The armada reached deeper into human space, burning outposts, stations, colonies. Everywhere they went, they left fire behind. But the humans did not run. They resisted with everything they had, old ships, small fleets, soldiers with nothing but courage. They knew they could not win. But they fought anyway. Every battle slowed the armada. Every world screamed one message: humanity does not bow. And then, on the third day of invasion, the black battleship arrived. It fell upon the alien fleet like a storm. Its cannons roared, tearing through enemy lines. Missiles streaked across the void. Alien cruisers exploded one after another. The humans on the ground looked up from their burning cities and saw it. Their battleship. Their shadow of war. And hope returned to their eyes. The aliens, however, felt only dread. They had gathered thousands of ships, yet still the black vessel struck fear into their hearts. But this time, the humans were not alone. As the battle raged, new signals appeared on the sensors. At first, the aliens thought it was reinforcements from their own fleets. But then the truth came. More black ships emerged from the dark. Not one. Not two. Not 10. Dozens. Human battleships, silent and scarred, each one carrying the same terrible fire. The galaxy's worst rumor was true. The humans had not built a single monster. They had built a fleet of them. The armada faltered. Commanders shouted in panic. Orders clashed. Thousands of ships suddenly felt small against the black wall of human steel. The galaxy had laughed at humanity's words. They had mocked their warnings. Now the battleships spoke together. And their language was fire. The sky turned into war. Explosions lit the void. Alien fleets shattered, their formations breaking apart. The humans pushed forward, not only defending their worlds but hunting the invaders back into the dark. For the first time, the galaxy understood the truth: humanity had never been weak. They had been waiting, preparing, building. And now, the galaxy would learn what it meant to laugh at humanity. The battleship that had once stood alone was no longer alone. And the war was only beginning. The galaxy had thought it had seen war. It had seen fleets clash, worlds burn, empires fall. But nothing compared to this. The day the human fleet revealed itself, the stars themselves seemed to shake. For centuries, the galaxy had mocked the humans as weak, as children with fragile bodies and short lives. But now, black battleships spread across the void like a shadow of doom. Each one was scarred. Each one carried silence like a weapon. And each one spoke the same language, fire. The armada that had invaded human space, thousands of ships, was shattered. Whole fleets turned and fled, their admirals screaming for retreat. Yet no retreat was safe. The battleships followed. Their cannons cut down carriers. Their missiles pierced flagships. Their beams split cruisers in two. The galaxy had wanted to test humanity. Now humanity was testing the galaxy. In the Star Fortress, the Council watched the battle with terror. The screens showed their fleets burning, their great invasion reduced to ashes. Alien commanders shouted at one another, blaming, accusing, panicking. "This is impossible," one shouted. "How can a young race build so many monsters?" "They were hiding them," another roared. "They planned this all along. They will destroy us all if we do nothing." The machine voice of the Thren cut through the chaos. "If we do not act now, it will be the end of every empire. Humanity is not fighting only for survival. Humanity is fighting for dominance." The room went silent. The word was one they all feared. Dominance. If humanity won this war, the galaxy would never be the same. The old empires would fall. The humans would rise. And so, in that silence, a desperate plan was made. They would unleash a weapon older than all their empires. A weapon buried deep in the void, locked away because it was too dangerous even for them. A weapon not built to win wars, but to end them. They called it the World Breaker. Far away, the human fleet regrouped after the slaughter. The black battleships drifted among the wreckage of alien fleets, their dark hulls glowing faintly from the heat of battle. On the bridge of the first ship, the captain stood. Her eyes were tired, but her voice was steady. "Status of the fleet?" she asked. One officer reported, 6 ships damaged, but all still operational. "Casualties, heavy, but acceptable. Ammunition is being reloaded. Engines are stable." The captain nodded. Around her, the crew worked silently, their movements sharp and precise. They did not cheer. They did not celebrate. For them, this was not victory. This was survival. And survival was never enough. She looked out at the stars. They will come again. Stronger. Desperate. We must be ready. And then, the warning came. The sensors lit with something new, something vast. The crew froze as the screens filled with images. A shape was moving in the dark, larger than any ship, larger than any station. It was not a fleet. It was something else. The World Breaker. It emerged from the void like a dead star waking. A machine the size of a small planet, covered in black metal, bristling with weapons. Its core glowed with a light that burned cold, a weapon capable of tearing worlds apart. The crew stared in silence. Even the most hardened soldiers felt their hearts falter. What is that?" one whispered. The captain's face was pale, but her eyes were hard. "That," she said, "is the galaxy's last hope against us." The World Breaker moved slowly, but its presence filled every sensor. It was not a battleship. It was not even a weapon. It was doom given shape. The galaxy's fleets regrouped behind it, hiding in its shadow. Thousands of alien ships, scarred and broken from their defeats, now found courage again. Behind the World Breaker, they felt safe. Behind the World Breaker, they believed humanity could be crushed at last. The human fleet received the challenge. The black ships formed up, engines glowing faintly. Silence filled the comms. No one spoke. Finally, the captain broke it. Her voice was calm, but heavy. "We fight. Not for victory. Not for glory. We fight because humanity must never bow. Remember this, They think this weapon will end us. Show them it will not. The battleships answered with fire. The battle that followed was unlike any before. Alien fleets surged forward, a wave of fire and steel. The human battleships met them head-on, cannons roaring, missiles streaking, beams cutting through the dark. Cruisers exploded. Carriers shattered. The void lit with death. But the World Breaker was different. It opened its core. Light brighter than a star erupted from its heart. A beam of pure destruction tore across the void. One human battleship tried to dodge, but it was too slow. The beam struck. The black ship split apart, its hull burning, its crew silenced in an instant. The human fleet roared in fury. They struck back with everything they had. Dozens of missiles slammed against the World Breaker. Cannons pounded its hull. Explosions flared across its surface. But the giant did not fall. Its armor was too thick. Its heart burned too strong. Another beam fired. Another battleship fell. The humans fought with everything, but for the first time, it seemed not enough. On the human flagship, the captain stood in the smoke-filled bridge. Reports came in: damage, casualties, losses. Her crew looked at her, waiting for orders. Some with fear, others with fire. She knew they could not win by fighting as they had before. The World Breaker was too strong. It was not just a weapon. It was a symbol. And symbols had to be broken. She gave the order. All ships, focus on the core. Ignore the fleets. Ignore the guns. Strike the heart. The battleships obeyed. They turned, engines burning hot. Every weapon fired, every missile launched, every beam aimed for the glowing heart of the World Breaker. The alien fleets panicked. Admirals screamed. Protect the core. Stop them. The void turned into chaos. Human ships burned. Alien ships exploded. The World Breaker roared, beams tearing through the dark. But still, the humans pressed on. One by one, black battleships fell. But each time, their fire reached the core. The glow of the World Breaker began to flicker. The captain watched the screens, her eyes hard. More. Give it everything. Her own ship shook as enemy fire tore through its armor. Alarms screamed. Smoke filled the bridge. But her voice did not waver. Humanity does not bow. Humanity does not break. Fire. The battleship unleashed its final salvo. A wave of missiles and beams slammed into the World Breaker's core. The giant machine trembled. Its light faltered. Then, with a soundless roar, it cracked. The core exploded. The shockwave tore across the void, shredding alien fleets, breaking ships into dust. The World Breaker split apart, its massive body collapsing in silence. When the light faded, only wreckage remained. The galaxy's greatest weapon was gone. But so were many human ships. Of the fleet of battleships, nearly half were destroyed. The survivors floated in silence, scarred and broken, but alive. On the flagship, the captain sat bleeding, her uniform torn, her hand shaking. The bridge was half ruined, smoke rising from shattered consoles. Around her, the crew worked quietly, tending to wounds, repairing what they could. They had won. But the cost was heavy. The captain whispered, her voice almost too soft to hear, this was their greatest weapon. And still, we stand. The galaxy will never forget this day. Her crew nodded. Humanity had faced the World Breaker. Humanity had not bowed. But deep in the silence, all of them knew, the war was not over. The empires would not stop. And humanity's fire was only beginning to spread. The World Breaker was gone, but the galaxy was not safe. The alien fleets had been shattered, their greatest weapon destroyed. Yet whispers spread across the stars, fear, anger, and despair. Whole empires trembled. Some leaders called for peace. Others demanded vengeance. But the humans did not wait. The surviving battleships, scarred and silent, moved forward. They crossed borders. They entered systems thought untouchable. Every step was fire. Every word was destruction. Alien worlds saw the black ships in their skies. Governments fell. Armies surrendered. Populations hid in terror. Humanity did not speak with diplomacy anymore, their battleships spoke for them. On one alien homeworld, a council begged for mercy. They sent messages, "We will surrender. We will give tribute. Only stop." The humans gave no reply. The battleship's cannons lit the night. Cities burned. Towers fell. The aliens learned what it meant to laugh at humanity, and then hear humanity's answer. But deep inside the human flagship, the captain stared into the stars. Her voice was calm, almost cold. "This is not the end," she whispered. "This is only the beginning. They will all learn, humanity does not beg. Humanity does not bow. Humanity speaks in fire." And as the stars burned, the galaxy finally understood, this was no longer a war. This was judgment.